Hello and welcome to the next episode of AfroDaddy. Today I want to talk about the 7 things that you should be thinking about when considering adopting a child. If you've watched any of the other episodes of AfroDaddy, you might know that my wife and I decided to adopt our first child. And trust me, it was a hectic process. So here's a list of some of the things I learned along the way. Number 1, you will probably cry at some point. Either because you're growing really impatient because you just can't wait to receive the child, or because you've just been told that you're about to become a dad. Either way, the tears are going to flow. The second thing you need to think about is a little bit more serious. You really have to ask yourself the question, why am I adopting in the first place? The only real reason for wanting to adopt is because there's a special spot in your family that only a child can fill. That way, the child will always feel loved and know that he's wanted. The next thing you should be thinking about are your limits. Different children have different challenges, and you need to know what you can handle. This is also true when it comes to race. In South Africa, the biggest need is for cross-racial adoption. And my wife and I were incredibly lucky to adopt a beautiful boy who wasn't of the same race as we were. Actually, the weird thing is that my wife and I aren't of the same race either, so we're quite a mishmash. We were also incredibly fortunate that both our families were on board and supportive, because that is essential when it comes to adopting. So if you're not sure if your family can really deal with a cross-racial adoption, you have to keep that in mind and also maybe challenge them on that fact. Number 4, you need to remember that from the moment you adopt your child, you are directly connected with his or her biological family, even if you never meet them. Your child comes with his own backstory and his own history. And ignoring that and ignoring his culture is a real problem, and we've been told will be problematic later on. The best thing to do is to embrace it, to embrace his culture and help him learn about it while you and the rest of the family learn about it too. Number 5, when you're thinking about adopting a child, you need to think about how you're going to tell him that he's adopted. In movies, there's a big reveal when the kid's a teenager, and it's quite upsetting. I think it would be the same in real life as well. So the real secret is to tell him or her from the very beginning. A handy hint we were told about is if he's ready to ask the question, he's ready to hear the answer. The bottom line is you want to be completely open and honest with your child about his or her adoption and how he became part of your family. My second last point follows off point number 5. To be ready for adoption, you have to be ready for emotions. Because no matter what your child's story is, there's going to be a sense of loss, there's going to be grief, there's going to be guilt, there's also going to be joy and happiness. Really, adoption comes with the full range of human emotions. So you need to be ready to process that as they come along and to embrace them. Finally, number 7. And this is the most important point I can tell you as an adoptive father. You have to realize that your adopted child is your child. Now that might seem to be really obvious, but think about it. He's not your adoptive child. He is your child. The moment you sign that piece of paper and you welcome this new person into your home and family, he is yours. And no amount of genetics is ever going to change that. To close, I can just tell you that my wife and I were really lucky because we had a very smooth adoption process. My little guy is awesome, and he's definitely daddy's little boy. If you have any more questions about adoption, feel free to put them in the comments below. I'll try and answer them the best I can, and if I don't know the answer, which is quite likely, I'll either ask my wife or someone else who also knows more than I do. Thanks for watching. I will see you next week. AfroDaddy out.